Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Jeff Culbert from Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center. You know, about a week and a half ago, we put out a little survey on YouTube, and the survey was questioning how many hours of sleep do you as an individual get? Well, we've got some results on that, and what we found is that about 6% of the population that responded get 5 hours or less, and we're going to talk about the problems that will present to you guys in a couple of minutes. From the rest of the survey, we broke it down into 5 to 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, and over 8 hours. And 29% of you people that responded are getting sleep between 5 and 6 hours. 50% of you are getting between 6 and 7 hours, and only 15% of the respondents are getting 8 hours or more. So what that basically means is that 85% of our respondent population is truly becoming sleep deprived and getting more and more sleep deprived. The question is, how fast are you ending up in sleep deprivation, and how fast is that going to hit you? As I've said in other videos, the average person needs about 8 to 8 hours and 15 minutes as a minimum of sleep. Some people need as much as 9 to 11 hours of sleep. So we're going to use the basic 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours to play and get everything else done, and 8 hours to go to work as the model that we're going to do. So it is incumbent upon you to try to get as close to the 8 hours of sleep every single night. And it's not to shortchange yourself during the week and then try to binge it all on the weekends, because that's not really healthy for you either. And I can show you the math where that's going to end up leaving you in sleep deprivation anyway. The question again is, how fast are you going to get into sleep deprivation great enough that it's going to start to affect your health and well-being? So let's address those people who are getting 5 hours of sleep or less a night, okay? It has been shown by the National Sleep Institute that those people that get 5 hours or less of sleep a night, and as little as 5 days, you're going to start to show pre-diabetic signs and symptoms and start to show those in your numbers. And one of the things you're going to start to notice is foggy and cloudy brain. And one of the things that they're classifying Alzheimer's is as type 3 diabetes. So one of the ways that you can help regulate your blood sugar is by trying to get closer to that 8 hours of sleep goal. 29% showed that they were between 5 and 6 hours of sleep, and 50% are between 6 and 7 hours of sleep. So anywhere in that group, okay, which is the majority of our group, you're talking roughly 79% of you guys, you're falling into sleep deprivation anywhere from an hour to 3 hours a day. And ultimately what's going to happen is you're going to reach the point where you are going to be constantly living in a state of tiredness. Now, some people, because of work schedules, will sleep 6 hours during the week, falling 2 hours into sleep deprivation every single day, Monday through Friday. That nets you out, okay, at 10-hour sleep deprivation for those 5 days. And then you try to sleep in an extra 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday, recouping 4. Well, you're still showing a net for the week of 6 hours into sleep deprivation. I have some of my senior patients that come in, especially from the retirement home just up the road from the office. And one of the things that they constantly complain about in their mid to late 80s and into their 90s is, my gosh, Dr. Jeff, I am so tired all the time. I get up, a little bit later, I'm taking a nap. I go out and do some things. Later on in the day, I'm taking a nap. Why am I so tired? We start to question those folks about, well, on an average, how much sleep were you getting on a daily basis throughout the course of your life? And they will end up saying, just as many of you guys did, 5 or 6, 6 or 7, you know, sometimes 7, maybe pushing a little bit of 8. And then we'd ask for, what would you say is your average? And a lot of people will end up saying about 6 hours of sleep. So we're going to go, so that's 6 hours of sleep, okay, versus your 8. So every day you're falling into sleep deprivation. Every 100 days you fall 200 hours into sleep deprivation. Now, if you're doing that over the course of a year, you're probably accumulating close to 750 hours of sleep deprivation. You do that for 35 years, okay, of your working life, that is going to equate to an astronomical number of sleep hours in deprivation. And then you got to figure, if you go back to getting your 8 hours, you're just staying even, leaving that whole sleep debt still there. So let's say as you're getting to be a senior, you're trying to recoup, sleep at 6 hours and then an hour nap and an hour nap. You're still netting out on the day 8 hours, still leaving you with that tremendous chunk of sleep deprivation to pay back. So if you're 30 or 40,000 hours into sleep deprivation and you can somehow find a way to pay back 2 hours a day, that's going to take you 15,000, okay, to maybe 20,000 days to recoup that time of sleep deprivation. And unfortunately, when you're 85 to 90, 95 years old, that many hours to be recouped, okay, generally means you're going to die tired. And I hate to say that, but that's the God's honest truth. So the thing is, as early as you possibly can, recognize what your sleep pattern is. And if you are farther away from 8 hours, you got to try to figure out, how can I recoup sleep back into my day? We all know that it's incumbent upon us for a little baby to get the right amount of sleep, which is somewhere between 16 to 20, 21, 22 hours when they're fresh newborns. And the question I often ask people is, well, why are we so crazy about making sure infants get their sleep? And the typical response is, if they don't get their sleep, they're really, really cranky and they're miserable to be around. My next question is, well, why is it any different for an adult? And why do we want to be around cranky and grumpy adults who are simply not getting enough sleep every single day? It clouds your mental performance. It decreases your physical and body's ability to do the chores and the tasks that it's supposed to do. You become more clumsy, become more accident prone. So again, sleep has tremendous amount of values in terms of resetting our adrenal glands and helping our blood chemistry, helping us to digest and assimilate foods, and to recharge our batteries every single day. Now, the nice thing is that God gave us the ability, for every 1 hour of sleep we get, we are allowed to do 2 hours of activity. So again, if you're breaking it down to, we've got to sleep 8 hours, you have the energy to go through a 16-hour day, to work and to get everything else done in the course of the day that you need to do. Cook, shop, play with your kids, exercise. But if you're robbing your ability because you're working so much, you rob time because, again, the United States is number 2 or 3 in the world for number of hours logged in a week, at something close to 48 hours on our computers and our screens and our TVs and our electronic devices. So if you take that much time, okay, that's roughly 6 to 6.5 hours, 7 hours out of your day spent on electronics that you should be sleeping or you should be doing other things. And if you're constantly shaving off your sleep time to be able to accommodate the fact that you are using your electronics more, that keeps you off purpose and off focus for the things that you've got to get done during the course of the day, your 7 to 8 hours, 9 hours that you have to work, let alone commute time, you find that sleep is the thing that we tend to pull away from the quickest and the easiest because we don't feel its effect right away. We have some ability to adapt and to accommodate a little bit here and there for some sleep deprivation, but it's never supposed to be that when 100 years ago Thomas Edison came up with the light bulb, the average person was sleeping 9 hours and 15 minutes a day, to that the average person now is sleeping 6.5 hours or less a day. So we've lost literally almost 2 hours and 45 minutes to 3 hours of sleep time every day. In terms of a population and in terms of the species on the planet, we are certainly robbing ourselves of the ability to have the energy to live our lives fully and full out. So based on the results of the survey that we did on YouTube, only about 15% of the respondent population is truly getting the right amount of sleep and having the energy to carry them throughout the course of the day. Now, I completely understand that there are things that do get into our day, and it's tough to carve out the time, but if you don't carve out the time for you to take care of you, eventually you will not be able to take care of others and to do the things that are your responsibilities, ultimately creating more pain and more suffering emotionally and mentally as well as physically. So what I want to do today is encourage you to take a look at your lifestyle and see how you can prioritize sleep as something that is truly important for your health and well-being, and how you can not necessarily overnight carve out the 8 hours that I'm asking you to get, but at least try to find a way that on a slow, steady basis, you can take one thing away and put in that time for additional sleep. So let's say you, at the end of the day, are going through your emails, and that takes you 15 minutes. Well, let's see if we can get that done earlier in the day and recruit those late night 15 minutes that are spent on emails for extra time to go to sleep. And one of the ways that you can tell that your body is signaling you to go to sleep is that your body's core temperature is going to drop a degree or two. So in the evening, you're all of a sudden going to catch a chill. When you notice that that chill has come onto your body as your core temperature drops a degree or two, you literally have 15 to 30 minutes to wrap everything up, wash, shower, whatever you need to do, get into your pajamas and get into bed, turn out the lights and make it a dark environment that's cool within 15 to 30 minutes. If you can do that, you're going to maximize having a great night's sleep, okay, and then starting to recoup that energy back that you need to get through your day without having to go to the monster drinks, the 5-hour energies, loading up on tons of caffeine, coffees or teas or other energy drinks to try to get you through your day. And ultimately those things are going to have a crash to them eventually, and you're going to end up being more tired than if you were on them. One of the things that I ultimately ask people to do when we're trying to get them to wean off of caffeine is, after 2 or 3 months and they've gone through the wean process, they're often telling me that I can't imagine having ever had this much energy on caffeine. The net result is you lose the caffeine, you lose the crash, you recoup energy down the road. So again, if you can carve out lifestyle changes in small little snippets that you add to over time, within a 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6 months period of time, you'll be getting the right amount of sleep that you get, which is 8 hours to possibly 8 hours and 15 minutes if you want to push the envelope a little bit, to as much as 9 or 11 hours, okay, to help you repay back some sleep debt that you've accumulated over a lifetime. You may not think sleep is important, but biochemically, hormonally, digestive, energy-wise, thought process-wise, blood sugar-wise, so that you're not ending it to a pre-diabetic state, sleep is more important than you know. Now, if you found this information helpful on our sleep talk today, I would hope that you would hit the like button and the subscribe button, and then share this station, as well as visit our website, smcc4u.com. And again, if you're interested, you're in the area, you would like to know if chiropractic can help and how chiropractic can help you get a better night's sleep, by all means, feel free to drop us a line, shoot us a phone call, and I'll be more than happy to respond to you as quickly as I possibly can. So this is Dr. Jeff Culbert from Schooley's Mountain Chiropractic Center, your leader in alternative health care, signing off saying have a great day and have a better night's sleep.